Geek Dad Life presents Screen Geeks, a live TV and film talk show. Tonight, we're gonna share our thoughts and reactions to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Screen Geeks. My name is Jay, and with me, as always, if we're talking screens, or he gets really mad if you talk screens and he's not invited, is my good friend Ralph. Ralph, how you doing tonight?
Sometimes I just want to jump into Toy Geeks.
Yes, excited to be here to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That is, can we talk about, we'll start with talking about the title and how awful it is, but I definitely want to say hello to the chat before we bring on our special guest. We got Casino Skunk in two places at once. Shiny Plastic People, Dartherian is here. We also got Nick Dillinger is in the house. Toy Geekosaurus is here. Mark Vibberts is here. The legend is here. Cobweb is here, off of work for this one. Angry Elf is here. Energia is in the house. Brandon 3G. John Johnson is here. Jamie Vaughn is here. Payne's Toy Samples. Brick Something. Jeff Morris. J Rod, and many more are jumping in. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Is it Quantumania? Is there a colon? Okay, Quantumania. The latest. Is this phase 5, 4, or 5? I don't know. No idea. Our special guest will probably know because he's far more knowledgeable than we are. Stevie, James, Steph Smith, Chuckles as well. So, let's bring on our special guest. You can find him on Vactorverse, on YouTube, and every other place you can find social media. Was my co-host when Ralph said, I'm not going to see Avatar, Jay. Find somebody else. And he did such a fantastic job. We had to bring him back. Past, current, and future guest, Vactor, welcome to the show.
Hello.
I still haven't seen Avatar.
What?
Yeah.
It was a good movie. Vactor and I had a good time.
Can I tell you, speaking of 3D?
Sure.
So we went and got tickets, and tickets were through the roof for Ant-Man and the Wasp. My sister got them.
Okay.
We get to the theater and realized that she got 3D tickets. There was some sort of snafu because it wasn't even playing in the theater that our tickets were for, and so it was a big old thing.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So we ended up getting non-3D tickets and went and got some ice cream, and it was delicious.
Yeah.
Came back to the theater and got our tickets and passed by the theater we were supposed to be in.
Okay.
Or a different theater. And there was nachos on the wall and on the floor on the carpet.
Okay.
ABC nachos. They have already been chewed and partially digested.
No.
And we're like, oh no.
Before you just start talking about
So it's right outside the 3D screening of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And we went in and we watched the movie, and I'm like, boy, am I glad I didn't see that in 3D because I understand where the nachos came from. And after the movie, my nephew went to the bathroom and someone else was getting rid of their nachos in the trash can. So I'm kind of glad I didn't see it in 3D because the option was on the table. And this movie is nuts.
It is.
I can see why nachos were tossed.
Well, the thing with 3D too, and Vactor and I talked about this in the Avatar episode, Ralph, which you probably didn't watch because you didn't see the movie.
No.
But there's this thing with 3D, and it's something they did well with Avatar, but a lot of theaters don't know how to project it, or they don't do it right. And for a movie like that, like just throwing it off can really mess with your brain and make you sick. And that's where people get like headaches and stuff like that. And it's and you know, Vactor, feel free to expand on this, but like you have to set those cameras right, or it can be a disorienting experience, right?
Yeah, I think James Cameron has it down. Like, there's no one else that I trust more with 3D than James Cameron. You have to sell me on 3D. If it's anybody else, if it's Cameron, you just say the word and I'm there. But for anybody else, you got to convince me.
Yeah.
But like Pete and Reed doesn't have like 7 years to do this stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
A much quicker process for sure. A friend of the channel, Ryan Dole, who's in VFX, he was on the team doing VFX for Ant-Man and the Wasp, and just the up to last minute that those things somehow get pulled off. It's no wonder that they didn't have enough time to make it be really good 3D. But anyway, all right. So we're here to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It is the start of Phase 5. I believe your Angry Elf said that. First one of Phase 5, and it's. I made Ralph gave me some flack for the thumbnail of this episode. If you've clicked on it, you've seen it. But the thumbnail. And I totally understand that this is a very dramatic thumbnail. I get it. But I had the vision in my mind, and I was like, it'd be so cool if the Rotten Tomatoes splat was behind the Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Excellent.
Ant-Man and the Wasp in front of a green background is very apropos of
right? It worked on so many levels. But, I had two versions of was it MCU Doomed or MCU Saved? And I was like, Doomed is more fun. So But anyway, the thumbnail is there. So, before we get into any of this, I do want to put a little spoiler warning. If anybody's watching live and hasn't seen the movie yet, spoiler alerts. We're going to be talking about the film. Now, I don't think necessarily we're going to give every single minute detail of this film, but we're going to talk about it, and plot points probably will be spoiled. So this is your last chance. You may not care about spoilers, but if you do, get the F out of here.
I mean, there was already one in the opening video.
That's a trailer. Like, I can't. Trailers don't count as.
Was that in the trailer?
I think so.
Okay.
Fun Employee Jay's thumbnail game is on point. All this extra time on my hands, I've gotten much better at thumbnails.
That is chef's kiss, Jay.
Yeah, thank you. They do better marketing than the MCU themselves.
There's actually something I really want to talk about in the marketing of this, but I'll wait until we get into our main discussion.
Okay, all right. Well, the spoilers have been done. Gentlemen, what's the first take? You're walking out of the movie theater. What was your thoughts? I'll let Vactor go first because he's the guest, and then Ralph will go to yours. But Vactor, what was you're walking out of the theater? What were your thoughts?
First thing I thought was Jonathan Majors continues. He's on a hot streak right now. He is my current favorite actor, and ever since He Who Remains in Loki, I said, all right, I have to watch this guy. He is like something with his charisma. He is a movie star, and I can't wait to see Creed 3. But that was the first thing I thought was I loved Jonathan Majors, 100%. When I thought about the movie, I said, I liked it, but I did not love the movie.
Okay. All right. I love all of that. I agree with you on Jonathan Majors. I don't know if you watched when Ralph and I did Loki, but he hated his performance as the Man Who Remains.
What?
Hated it.
Yeah. What?
I loved it as well. Since he was on we talked about before about the Cthulhu
yes,
Lovecraft
Country.
Lovecraft Country. I was like, same thing. There's just he has this charisma and just screen presence. I'm just like, I want to watch him do anything.
Yes.
So I'm glad you're on the same page because I don't. It's 2 against 1 now.
Well, I want to know Ralph. What did you not like about He Who Remains? He's dancing. He's eating apples. He's having a great time.
It's too much. It's very, very performancy, and I didn't care for it. And the jumping on the desk, I'm like, it felt like he was trying to be like every great, like he's trying to be Heath Ledger's Joker and Jack Nicholson and every character ever. And it drove me up the wall. I will tell you this. So, first thing I thought coming out of the theater was, watch where I step. Second thing was I definitely liked him more in this movie. I really wanted him to speak a little bit faster because I know he's the villain and I understand his plot, and he just talked so slow. And I'm like, let's speed it up. And I know he's supposed to be the big bad of Phase 5 and Kang is cool and all that, but I'm just like, let's go.
Ralph,
This is not exciting to watch.
Hold on, Ralph. Okay, I cannot let you slander the man like this, because in the Loki thing, like, he's too erratic all over the place. He's too fat. And in this one, you're saying he's too slow. What does Jonathan Majors have to do to get you to appreciate what he does on screen?
Be entertaining.
Damn.
And listen, I'm fired up for Creed 3. I'll tell you that, though. And he looks great in that. But there were some of the monologues in this, I was just like, dudes, like, come on. I'm like, this is like the third or fourth monologue, and it's just like taking forever. Like Peyton Reed and Stevie said this too, and I agreed.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really had the pacing of a Star Wars movie.
It did.
And for his character, I needed faster, more intense.
Okay.
But that being said,
mm-hmm.
I very much enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good.
All right.
And fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
But again, I need you to get on the Jonathan Majors train because he is a treasure.
I will in a couple weeks.
And yes, I've watched it. They had the trailer for Creed 3 again. And I was like, I'll get in the ring. Just beat me up. I just want to be take me on, Jonathan Majors. Have you seen his Ebony cover? It's like, hot damn.
You mentioned it last time. You're really into this, dude.
The Ebony cover. I'm just saying. Hey, I got a bit of a man crush on him.
Just share your screen. I'm sure it's your desktop wallpaper.
It's not right now. Maybe I need to get my desktop. But that Ebony cover is like, hot damn. I was like, whew. Paulina,
but two Apples agree. Both me and my wife agree that he's nowhere near Michael B. Jordan. Not even remotely.
Here's the thing. So I get it. Everyone's like, Michael B. Jordan's really hot, and he is. Okay, but I'm just saying, Jonathan Majors has a different vibe that just, I think, may be hotter. That may be controversial.
Well, I can't wait. Are we gonna have to do a Creed 3 Screen Geeks?
Ooh.
Mary F. Kill.
I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see the thumbnail for that.
Oh man.
Anyway, sorry. Need to cool off a second here. But okay, my thoughts leaving the theater. One, I went into it with, and maybe this is a flaw with myself. I sort of even like reading reviews because I don't want to have any type of like preconceived any opinion. You know, I just want to go in like a blank slate. But I follow David Sims. He's a movie reviewer, critic for what is it, Variety or no, The New Yorker? One of those. But he's also a co-host of Blank Check with Griffin and David. We're big fans of that here. But he tweeted it, and I was just scrolling through Twitter, and he had an opinion on it, and it was kind of lukewarm. So I was like, dang it. Okay, well maybe it isn't good, you know, which I shouldn't have done. I should have like, no, don't even listen to it. Just go in, whatever. But I think having those low expectations, I really enjoy the film. And Ralph, I had a similar thought too. I was like, this just feels like a Star Wars movie. Like it goes in, it's bam, bam, bam. Like there's no something that the MC movies had a problem with was like almost feeling overdone or overloaded and just feeling lethargic at different points. But this one just felt like it just jumps right in. Like they're going into the quantum realm. And like it felt like in under 5 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I didn't have it. I should have timestamped it, but it felt like we had the intro from the trailer, and then boom, we're in quantum. Like almost as fast as the trailer got into the quantum realm, the movie got into the quantum realm, and it just didn't stop. And yes, you know, is it perfect? Was it revolutionary? No, it was very Star Warsy, just like, you know, you know, the rebels against the Empire, and it wasn't a Death Star, but it was a big spherical thing, and you know, so but I really liked it, and I heard there wasn't as much humor, but the Modoc stuff was hilarious. And just the whole thing, I really enjoyed it, and I walked out of the theaters and I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I missed the whole Michael Pena side of things. I was kind of hoping for post credits, and I saw David Dastmalchian have a credit in the movie, and I was like, oh, we're gonna get a post credit scene with those guys. But David Dastmalchian played the character with that didn't have holes.
Yes.
So, but I mean, you know, it's the thing is, it's like. Peyton Reed comes from comedy. He used to direct episodes of Upright Citizens Brigade, the TV show back in 97, 98. One of my favorite episodes of his is Magomera versus the Fart Monster. And so he's coming from comedy. And then when you see Modoc show up with the face mask, you're like, wow, they pulled it off. That is great. And then the mask lifts off and you're like, that is stupid and hilarious, and I can't take my eyes off it, and I love it. And every time he came on screen, Stevie laughed, made me laugh. My nephew who was sitting next to me laughed because it looked bad. And I feel like they tried to make it good, and they couldn't. They were like, it's impossible to make it look good. So let's lean into the goofiness of this thing. And to the point of where, like,
when he put him in the suit and he has his little ass in the
his little butt. Like, that's the thing. It's like when they show the butt, you're like, okay, we don't need to take this too seriously. But it just, I don't know. It brought that humor. And the fact that they decided to put Modoc in a live action Marvel universe, and because it's in the quantum realm and it's a weird mishmash dimensional thing, we could get a different version of Modoc down the road. We don't have to get all up in arms like we did with Mandarin. It could just, this is like, okay, we're going to play this as a joke. And we're gonna let the audience get used to the concept of this thing. And we'll play it as comedy. Then maybe down the road we can do a more serious take, and people will already be on board with the concept of a giant head with regular size arms.
Vactor, what did you think of Modoc?
I loved him. This is what's crazy. I was doing I was doing some research earlier. This is the 4th iteration of Modoc in some form of MCU tie-in. So he was in the Iron Man 3 video game. He was in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then he was also in another thing. But I love this version just as much as the Hulu Patton Oswalt Modoc. Like, there is no way to make him serious, like Ralph said. There's no way to make it Dark Knight it, right? Like, there's no way to Christopher Nolan it. So just lean into the comedy of it and the ridiculousness of it, because that's how he's been ever since he was created in the 60s. It's never been a serious character. It's always been like, what? Why is there this giant head floating around with these little bitty limbs? So I thought they did a great job adapting.
I feel like they were trying to soften the blow with like the broccoli headed dude and all the crazy aliens. Like, there's a bunch of crazy aliens that kind of get you in this world of like, okay, this is bizarre. Everything is weird. But get ready, because we have something that you're going to have to sort of accept in a little bit.
Bill Murray's going to be in this universe. We'll talk about this, but there's the last point I want to put on this is I loved my name is Darren, I'm not a dick. There's just something about the world we live in, and especially it's just my own prejudices of being in tech, where it's just, and there's just like a lot of tech bros and just like douchebags and stuff like that. But it's just, I just love that it's like, just stop being a dick. Like, right? Like, just you don't have to be a dick. And then it was so simple, and maybe Cobweb, it says it was a little too silly for him, but I don't know, it really that line really resonated for me. I was just like, yeah, and then I love that it kind of sunk in for him. It's like yeah, I don't have to be like, I really like that line. What did you all think of that?
That one, and then also At Least I Died an Avenger. Both of those, like I was laughing,
so
like
good.
I couldn't breathe. I
like that. So I like that more. I like the conversation with him and Cassie.
Yes.
About not being a dig. I didn't care for the one-liner at the end. Like it was, I was like, well, we already. I mean, we got it. But the Avenger line and just him like glancing over, like the performance was great.
Yes.
My thing is they're gonna just like nod and say, okay, yeah, you're Avenger, and then the Wasp says, yeah, you're an Avenger, and then like he didn't die. Like that's what I wanted for him to be, not dead, and then just like hang it over their head for like the rest of their lives.
There was kind of there was moments like that, at least for me, his like outro voiceover, when he just kind of has the intrusive thought of just like, wait, he said it's going to end bad or whatever, and it's like, gosh, and he just kind of went down this like dark intrusive thought. It's like, nah, it's fine, and he just kind of keeps going.
Oh yeah.
There's this, that kind of rhythm was kind of throughout, and I dug it. Like I thought it worked well.
Yeah, I think it works, especially with Paul Rudd's personality. Like we know him from so many other TV shows and movies. Like his personality and his comedy and delivery works well with Peyton Reed. So I think they teamed up together. They formed Voltron together pretty good. And all the comedy worked for me in this one. But actually, that the ending monologue, like you were saying, I actually wished that they had gone all in on that. They had like the sky opens up and it's like, wait a minute, and then it cuts to credits. Like something actually happens to make you say, oh, maybe he wasn't supposed to win. Maybe something, something that he did in the quantum realm is the reason why. Like actually, I thought that was going to be when going into this, I was like, all right, we know Kang's going to be around. This is not a one and done for Kang. We've got the Kang dynasty coming up. We got Secret Wars. So he must get out of the quantum realm because he's not going to stay in there. So it's something that Scott does that lets him out, right? Like I thought that was going to be the thing. So at the very end, like I was like, oh yeah, maybe it's true. Maybe it's true. And then it just cuts to black. And I'm like, wait, huh? So I kind of wish they had gone all in on that and actually shown something. It's almost like a WandaVision type of thing. Like, oh, wait a minute. Because at the end, did you notice like the prices were different and the cake?
Yeah, it's like, oh wait, the coffee's $12 or whatever. Yeah,
so I almost feel like he came out and something isn't the same. Like there's something a little off. And the cake not tasting good was the joke of that guy, not making cakes for a while. But I also think that maybe that is something else where they're in a different variation of the universe. So something I want to see what happens next.
Yeah. Nick Dillinger, it might be interesting if him getting sucked in the time machine is what made all these variants. Well, we knew the variants were there, right? Like Loki kind of set that up, that there was, all these, but maybe. Steph Smith, $12 coffee. It's SF is normal. That's fair. It's pricey.
I feel like they were sort of like retroactively like taking back his money. Like like you know what, you've been getting freebies too long, so let's just say this one's $12.
Let's see, Brick something. Super happy to hear folks enjoyed it more than me. Had fun. I'm all in for MCU. I just wasn't as into this movie as the others, including Love and Thunder and Shang-Chi, which others didn't like. I like Shang-Chi and I liked Love and Thunder, but I think I liked this Ant-Man better than Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder felt a little, it didn't know what it wanted to do with itself.
I really liked it. I didn't care for Wakanda Forever like at all.
I haven't seen it yet. I have not seen it.
I didn't care for it at all. I mean, given the circumstances, I feel like I mean, they did the best they could given the circumstances, but I don't think. I mean, spoilers for this, but I don't know if Letitia Wright is she just didn't have my attention. Like as the main character, I feel Chadwick. That
well, how can you replace Chadwick Boseman, right? It's like trying to replace
but
Tony
Stark. But like
Lupita
Nyong'o is like charismatic, and you can't take your eyes off her. And I was like, I would much rather focus on her story than Letitia Wright. But
I didn't watch it mainly because I didn't want to be depressed. Like I still probably haven't gotten over Chadwick Boseman's death, and I it's almost better in my own head that he's still alive, and I just didn't want to like face reality, you know?
Dude, it's a tough watch, especially at the beginning. Yeah, they do. I'm not gonna spoil this for you, just so you can brace yourself, because I know you're a big crybaby. Like,
I am a huge crybaby.
Like, dude,
and that's why I knew if I went into it, I would have been a wreck, and I didn't want to go there.
The opening Marvel logo for Wakanda Forever, I believe it's all purple. Every single comic book page is Chadwick Boseman, like on screen, behind the scenes, like just his life, and it's played to silence. The whole dude, it was like immediately you can just hear sniffling in the theater, like right off the bat. It's just like, oh man, this is it's making me sad now. Like, it's not like it'll gut punch you. So just be prepared for that.
It's like I still don't know if I'm emotionally ready. Like, Vactor, what was your thoughts on Wakanda Forever? It's
Yeah, so I like Wakanda Forever a lot, and there's, what's crazy about the Phase 4 and the start of Phase 5, there hasn't really been an end game. There hasn't been a 5 out of 5, knocked it out of the park, like across the board, amazing. Wakanda Forever, like Ralph said, they did the best they could with it, and I liked the going through grief and going through loss, dealing with that. I like that theme, even though it is sad. But I also have a personal take on Namor, because my wife is Latina, and so my son is part Latino. So seeing that representation for me was great. Same thing with Miles Morales. I really enjoyed the way that they took Namor from the comics and then changed him into, okay, we're going to take this Mayan culture. We got a Mexican actor, and even the name. I don't know if Jay, have you been spoiled on how the name comes about in the movie?
Yeah, you can spoil me. It's fine. Okay. I watched the honest trailer of it. So
in the movie, they're taking the Spanish words sin amor, without love. Sin amor, namor is how he got his name. And he's like, oh, that's what my enemies call me. And I was like, when I was in the theater, like my hat blew off. Like I was like, this is what they wanted with the, why did you say Martha? Martha? Like they wanted that to be this moment, this mind blowing, like they put like this has existed for years, and we are retroactively saying this is like, anyways. So I loved that part of it. I loved those type of things in the movie. And then at the very end, I liked the and I like Riri. I have to see the Ironheart show a little bit more to really get a feel for her, but I liked her introduction, and the ending of the movie I thought was very hopeful, and I really liked the direction that they're going to go in with not Chadwick, with T'Challa. Sorry, with T'Challa. So I like that there is a T'Challa in the MCU now. So I liked it.
It's just, again, I'm still not emotionally ready for it. So, but one day I will be. I'll be very ready.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way about the Eternals. I am still not emotionally ready to watch the Eternals.
Sure.
I should probably watch it. It's
Mark Vibert, all 3 screenings I saw of Quantumania, people were clapping and hollering for Loki and Mobius during the Victor timely post credit. I love the post credit. I think both Ralph, you and I both, aside from you didn't like the He Who Remains, but we both liked the series a lot. Like what were your thoughts on that? That was the post credit scene, right? Ralph, you go first, and Vector, like your thoughts here. But Ralph, what was your thoughts?
Well, because I saw David Desmalchin in the credits, I thought that they were going to do a fun scene with those guys that we missed during the whole movie. I think that would have been fun. And just do like a 5-minute thing of maybe Scott telling the story of Quantumania in the style of Michael Pena. To Michael Pena and them. Like that would have been fun. But so I was a little like, I'm just like, oh, it's the guys from Loki, and that just reminds me of that part I didn't like in Loki. But I did like the sort of like I don't know, it's not steampunk, but like Victorian sort of vaudeville act and stuff like that. So that was nice, and I liked his performance in this. And I liked all the mid-credit scene, all the different variations that he was doing of the character. That was a lot of fun. And the version at the stage show I thought was a lot of fun. So yeah, it was fine. It was cute, but I was setting myself up for disappointment by thinking that the old gang would be back.
Fair.
Or like Judy Greer or something.
Yeah, they were missed in this movie.
Vactor, what was your thoughts of the post credit scene?
So I'm of two minds, because I really like that they're going this wild and this crazy. First of all, we got Modoc in a movie, a live action movie, and then these variants of Kang. Jonathan Majors can play anything, but there is a danger with doing all of those different like wacky characters of going too far with it. So I saw some reactions like, oh, this is getting a little too silly for me. Like the amount of Kangs that we saw there, and then the little variations of like the alien looking one and the different ones. So like, I love that was a callback to an actual panel from an Avengers comic. And I love the Victor Timely stuff. I love Loki, that show. So it got me excited for season 2. I'm wondering if Victor Timely is, now in the comics it's different, but they can change it for the film. Is he going to turn out that was the original variant, and then he turns into Kang the Conqueror, and then Kang the Conqueror turns into He Who Remains. So it's like it's all one connecting loop at the end. Because with Loki, we saw that he's the He Who Remains is at the end of his timeline, whatever. And he already knew, he's like, I'm gonna come back. I'll see you again. You're gonna kill me, but I'm gonna come back. We're gonna start this whole multiversal war all over again. So we already know the loop that they're in, but I want to see how they get to that point, and that why was Loki so scared of him, and what is just going to be that storyline for season 2, because I can't even think of what the storyline is going to be. So I really want to see that.
I don't remember much from Loki. I might revisit it. At least the last episode.
Remember it all.
But what I thought was interesting in this movie is that they banished this one Kang the Conqueror. He got banished to the quantum realm, and all of them seem like, now that he's gone, we can just kind of live our life and be normal. But the fact that now that one's gone, and now they're like, oh, now we can really go out and play, leads to me to believe that Kang is like the most powerful one.
Oh, sure.
And so I'm interested in seeing how that plays out. I'm assuming this one didn't get destroyed fully in the
well, they said Kang will return, right, at the end of the thing.
I can't see them introducing him and killing him in the same movie. Like he's just too important for the rest of this phase.
I mean,
but I do feel like there's
I love the voiceovers, like, I got him, right? It was very much like, and you didn't, like, I get what you're saying, Vactor. Like, it would have been neat just to actually have it show that he didn't, but I I also appreciate that he didn't do that, because there was something to Doctor Strange where it kind of the end almost like erased whatever before, or like,
Yeah,
or
that was
had
weird.
the eye, and then it went the extra mid credits, like, I guess
Yeah.
it didn't really matter, so
Yeah.
it just kind of
That was weird.
but I'm not saying that's what it would have been like, but I kind of just like you don't know, and it's just like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I just wanted Shang Tsung to come out or something, like somebody come into the sky and look down on us and say, I'm gonna get you guys.
Let's talk about Bill Murray in this film. Bill Murray felt a bit wasted. I kind of liked it though as a Bill Murray cameo, essentially.
Yeah.
But what was your thoughts on the Bill Murray of it all? Vactor, you go first, and we'll go to Ralph.
I love Bill Murray.
Sure.
I don't, if I'm looking at the whole picture, I wonder what was the point of his character, just to give exposition about what she was doing that whole time in the quantum realm, I guess. But I think you could have removed him and the movie would not have suffered very much. So
that's true.
It's nice to see Bill Murray, but I do feel like he could have been put to better. Like the character could have been better.
Yeah.
I feel like that he almost feels like a setup, kind of like the Collector.
Oh,
like I would like to see the Collector and the Jeff Goldblum character.
Yeah.
And like Bill Murray, like just these weird white-haired guys in a board meeting with like somebody, like they're all just kind of like a-hole, like they think they're the rulers of their world, but they're not really.
Yep.
They're just so I mean, if they're setting them up for more stuff, which I don't know if they are, that's fun. But I mean, I don't know, I feel like Peyton Reed just probably wanted to work with Bill Murray and called his phone number, and it worked out. Like,
and Murray happened to answer it, and
it was. It almost feels like a part where if Bill Murray said no, they probably could have just cut it out.
Exactly.
But since he said yes, they're like, okay, well, we'll just do it.
Yep.
But I mean, Bill Murray was playing like greaseball Bill Murray, like like Stripes, like gross, like womanizing, like Bill Murray.
Harold Ramis written Bill Murray.
Yeah. So I was fine with it.
Yeah. Speaking of the person, I guess he was being Bill Murray to, can we just have an appreciation post for Michelle Pfeiffer? Like, I thought she gave a fantastic performance, and not that appearances are everything, but she looked stunning. I thought she looked fantastic. Like, she looked beautiful. More
beautiful than Jonathan Majors.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I think for a lot of people, I guess in our age range, but Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns, I think, was one of those first, like, I feel funny in my tummy. Just the I'm feeling something.
That's not your tummy.
I felt like she still just had that presence, and that it's an absolutely stunning presence, but also just a badass. And I thought she just, because before it was just kind of like, oh, there's Michelle Pfeiffer, she's there, I guess, but she actually got to, like, actually be.
It's centered around her.
Yeah,
the movie centered around her,
and I thought
I couldn't help but think, like, get her in that Flash movie, guys.
Yeah,
please be in that Flash movie.
Like, this movie was for like, oh, Selena Kyle, you got to be there. If
Jay's tummy is rumbling,
I need a fight for Catwoman.
Jay's got a rumbly tummy for that one.
I feel funny. Back to Rose, your thoughts on Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah, I liked her, especially with the Pym relationship, just the husband and wife. Like, I'll go across time for you. I'll do anything for you. Got a nice reaction in our theater of the married people in the crowds. I think I liked that relationship. It's interesting that I think her storyline is what kind of took over the Ant-Man crew. I think that's why they're not in this, is because her storyline is so pumped up from the last movie. And I think that's why Evangeline Lilly's a little bit less in this movie. And the Wasp, even though her name is in the title, I don't think this was a Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. Right. So yeah, it's kind of like a give and take thing. I like Michelle Pfeiffer, and I like what she was able to do in this role. But I also would have liked to have seen more Wasp and more of the Ant-Man crew. So yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I will say this, and both Ralph and I have covered Lost for a long time, so I think we both have met Evangeline Lilly, interviewed Evangeline Lilly. Yeah, no, you never did. Anyway, no. I have, and she's always been nice to me. But I will say this about Evangeline Lilly's acting performance, and this is a joke. I'm stealing it. Maybe we'll make this joke. She did such an amazing acting performance, showing how she believed in science and was a leader and all that kind of stuff. I was like, wow, she is acting the hell out of this.
I saw that earlier and I laughed.
Yeah, it's fine. Again, but I do like, my favorite thing is at the end, her hairstyle changed yet again.
Yeah, it was like a
blonde
highlights kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fair point. Michelle Pfeiffer is the original Wasp, so she's still.
I was going to ask that.
Wasp, kind of a different Wasp.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this is more aunt-daughter movie. I mean, let's talk about that a little bit. You want to say something else, Ralph?
Well, what cracked me up about that was I'm sitting there watching, and like halfway through the movie, you have these 5 characters in the quantum realm, and I'm like, Scott and is it Cassie? They're not related to these other people.
Yes, and it was weird.
I was like, wait a second. Yeah. So I mean, if I get it, if they're married, Ant-Man and the Wasp are married, but they're not, and they're just like, it's crazy that the relationship is
which is fine,
so
like
strong, because I'm like, this is like Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah, we are just like, oh, he's my uncle, but not really my uncle or whatever. Like, it's like they're clearly a familial unit, if not, related by blood. I love this Alison Troy. Evangeline Lilly. Wait, the science in this movie? How much are you paying me? Stevie Apple, it was nice to see Kate having to deal with an overly mysterious woman who is mysterious for no reason. Kate, just use your words.
Yeah.
We have to go back.
Stevie was yelling at the screen. Well, not really yelling at the screen, but when Michelle Pfeiffer refused to tell Evangeline Lilly what was going on, and I'm like, sounds like someone I know from a certain island.
Oh my god! Anyway, a lot of Lost hidden. Even people who are watching haven't watched Lost, they have no idea what these jokes are. But if you've watched Lost, you know, or are big fans of Lost.
It took what, 3 seasons to find out what Kate did to get put in handcuffs. She wouldn't tell anybody.
Oh man,
because I loved him.
Whatever.
Anyway, moving on. What thoughts on Cassie and kind of, a new ant woman, her kind of journey in this episode, the stereotypical kid screws everything up kind of story arc.
But I feel like it wasn't her fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if, like, Michelle Pfeiffer, Van Dyne, I forget her name.
Janet. Damn it, Janet.
would have just said something
right
before firing up the machine, like,
it
would have been fine. Her I feel like her equipment was sound.
They didn't say anything to her, in all fairness.
But I mean, like, I don't know. She had years to say, hey, while I was down there, things got crazy and was bad.
Yeah.
So she kept it for so long where they didn't think it was going to be to send a signal down there.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's
not just she didn't. It wasn't her fault. It wasn't her fault because she was like dumb or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
She didn't have the right science or the right, she needed the information. Because the way it sounds to them and the way we saw it as moviegoers was she was down there by herself until Scott showed.
True. Yeah, 100%.
So,
yep.
We did not know that all of these things were happening down there. We didn't know there was broccoli guys and manta ray taxis and living buildings.
I like the manta ray. Yeah, the living buildings. No, it's totally fair. It's like she didn't say. I mean, basically enabling a multiverse Napoleon is maybe something you want to let people know.
Isn't it funny how time works for her? It was like 30 years. For Scott, remember when he got stuck in the quantum realm, it was like 5 hours, and then it was like 5 years in our world. So how come hers was 30 and his was 5? Like, that was kind of weird.
But I kind of see that though, especially like when you're going through like time dilation and stuff like that, because the ants,
he was too deep.
They went through like 2,000 years. They had like a full freaking.
It's like in Invincible when Nolan takes out the Flaxons and he leaves for like I think a week and then comes back, and to him it was like something like 30 years or something.
Yeah.
So everybody check out Invincipod. That's at Invincipod on YouTube. It is a good show.
It's a rip-roaring good time.
Yeah.
Nick Billinger, Cassie has fun charisma, even though this is the third time they've recast Cassie. This one is actually fun to watch. Yeah, I thought her charisma was great. Her screen presence. I liked her arc, and where she kind of got the people to rise up or whatever. It wasn't quite Andor, Andy Serkis, inspiring. But I thought it was a fun journey for her. She kind of grew into the role, to her superhero-dom. And I really dug it. Vactor, what was your thoughts on Cassie?
Yeah, so this is the third actor that's played Cassie in the MCU. Catherine Newton is the current one. A little bit of behind the scenes drama with the last actress, Emma Furman, who was not told that she was going to be recast until everyone else found out. She found out when we all found out that she was recast. So
damn.
That was a little shame on Marvel, but I thought Catherine Newton did a great job. I just want to see her. I want to see a Young Avengers movie because they've been setting up like basically every character in the Young Avengers. So I want to just see her become Stature, Stinger. I want to see that happen. But I actually think it would have been interesting if Scott had died in the end. There would have been a number of things that I think Scott dying would have helped the movie. One is in the comics, that's the reason why Cassie becomes a hero, is because Scott dies in Avengers Disassembled at Wanda's, basically by Wanda's hand, and her grief over that is why she puts on the ant suit, and she also becomes Giant Girl later. But I thought that would have been interesting for Paul Rudd's arc in the MCU and for this movie. Like there would have been that tragedy at the end.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there was a little bit too much. This movie got wrapped up with a bow. Like everything turned out okay at the end. And even the strangest thing to me was the final fight, which I loved, like that hand-to-hand fight between Jonathan Majors and Paul Rudd.
Great.
The way that it was so hard to get into the quantum realm, but then at the end they were just like, all right, go get him. We'll just zap our we can just immediately
reopen the door.
There he is. All right, let's get into the quantum realm and pull him back out again. I thought that was kind of strange that was not explained, but
I feel like I would have liked to see those two living in the quantum realm. Redoing the opening sequence where he's doing the voiceover, but he's going to get coffee at that bar and drinking the goo, and where everybody there likes him, and just leave him there. Just leave him down there.
I would have been happy with that. At the end of this movie, if he was stuck in the quantum realm, and hey, we can go get him later. We can go get him in another movie. That would have been fine for me.
And taking pictures with little broccoli dogs or something.
I completely agree. There was that if there's one critique I had of the movie is it went right up to the line of allowing Ant-Man to die a hero, but not going for it. And because I went into it thinking, he might die, and it would have been a good death, but like it would have worked. Like he would have sacrificed himself to save the whatever, his world from Kang going into it and his daughter. And that line, I don't have to win, we just both have to lose.
That was a good line.
Like it almost takes away that great line because it's like, well, everything worked out.
Yeah. Well, that actually is a really good segue into, remember what I was saying earlier about the marketing for this movie? So that line in the trailer was great. That was a great setup for, okay, Scott's going to die in this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was one. The other one was basically everything was leading up to, you lost time with your daughter. This is the one thing I can give you is time with your daughter. And leading up to this, there was like, I was watching YouTube videos and theories. All right, so he's lost this many years in the prison. He's lost this many years in the blip. So all this time has been lost. And I thought the whole movie was going to be, he's going to make this deal with Kang because it ends up being too easy because Kang makes the decision for him by betraying him and not giving Scott the choice. Like Scott basically has no choice. So I felt like they should have gone with the way it was marketed and the whole thing about him losing time. Because that ends up being a non-factor almost. Like him losing time means nothing. He's with Cassie the same at the end as he is at the beginning of the movie. So
do you think it was test scores, test audiences?
That's
because it really does feel like he should have, like, even if he's just stuck there, he's still there, but and they're like, because the thing is, the whole ending is hurry up, get through the door, and then they fight, and then she comes back in and knows that they're going to go back out. Like, they're probably, all right, you ready to leave? And the door opens up right when she says it, and I'm like, that feels like something.
It was just too easy. Like changed. It was just too.
Why were we really only needed to make sure one person got through the door, but they made it sound like everybody needs to go. This is it. And just having it to be a question mark, you could still do the ending. I would like to see the ending on Earth with her doing the voiceover, talking about her dad.
That would have been great because the whole beginning of the movie is the setup of their relationship and how she wants him to care about a cause, and things that he got complacent at the beginning. Everything was great in his life and everybody gives him free stuff, and he's Baskin Robbins employee of the century, and she's over here like, all right, I'm on the front lines, I'm fighting for something. And at the end it was like I said, if he would have been fighting for his daughter, fighting for getting that time back, it would have been great, but it just felt too easy to me at the end.
I feel like an ending with her doing all the things, going to Baskin Robbins to get a cake because it reminded her of her dad. Taking pictures with the dogs, but then also using her powers to help during these protests. She did shrink the cop car and stuff, like but I feel like it should have ended with her story.
No, I agree. It felt forced. It felt kind of
I feel like that version's out there.
You're probably right, Ralph. That is definitely like, well, you can't kill Ant-Man, or you can't have him stuck over there.
Just leave him as a big question mark.
Yeah, I agree. It should have went black as soon as he went. I don't need to win. You just
right.
Nope. You need to lose, and then boom, cut to black, and then just have them on the other side.
No, I completely agree. Mark Vibert, trailers in general tend to lie. Shiny plastic people. I'm sure Hank and Janet could rally adventures. They new Captain America. You're good for Ant-Man is stuck battling Universal Despot. Mind jumping in the back of this van and help him out.
Hey,
Brick, something,
tic-tac.
can you explain to me how Janet stopped Kang the first time and how Ant-Man fixed it? I think he just used the Pym things to like blow it up or whatever, right? That was the whole
right.
Yeah.
Or Brick, something, if the Kang had access to all this tech and is this intense genius, why couldn't he figure out Pym tech or grab it out of history? Well, I think because he was stuck out of time, he couldn't use.
He didn't bring it with him.
Yeah. She shrunk it 7 times and Scott unshrunk it. Yep. See, I think at some point Downey, Evans, and the OG6 Avengers have to come back. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that saves. To me, here's the thing. I thought the introduction of Kang was a great introduction. I think he's a good baddie. I think Secret Wars is a great way to go for it. I think Phase 5, the thumbnail says MCU doomed. I don't think it is. I feel like Phase 4 was a wander to nowhere. But this feels like it is setting up a story that we are going to follow, right?
Yes. And that's through I think the movies and the TV shows, the Disney Plus shows.
Yep.
But yeah, it would be interesting to see that.
Phase 4 was a bridge. It felt like a bridge to nowhere. But anyway, Vactor, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Phase 4 just felt like piecemeal. Like they put it together. It was just come as you are. Each one, there didn't feel like there was a set plan and there was an ending to it. Like we got there eventually, but it didn't feel like they had that at the beginning. But I'm interested to see where 5 and 6 go. Secret Wars, it would be very interesting to pull Downey back and be like, oh yeah, that's the Tony Stark from this universe or whatever.
Sure.
I would be interested to see that, and I'm sure it would get a huge reaction in the theater. So maybe.
Yeah. Ralph, your thoughts on this as being the start of Phase 5?
Sure. We introduced with the exception of like the first 3 phases, like those kind of had like starting and like like you had Avengers, you had Infinity War and stuff like that. I think it was Civil War, one of the different endings of a phase or something. The phases don't matter to me. They really don't.
It's all marketing.
Yeah. I think people might put too much stock in it.
Sure.
But this does feel like a beginning.
Yeah.
With the introduction of Kang. So I can say like, yeah, this feels like a new thing happening. He does feel like the way Thanos was teased, like this is the next guy to watch out for.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not super fired up on Marvel at the moment. I'm excited for Guardians 3. I don't know if they're really setting us up for everybody dying.
Is going to die, but maybe that won't be the case now, considering how this.
Nobody will die. Maybe no one will die. I feel like James Gunn is screwing with us. I feel like Dave Bautista says he never wants to play Drax again. I feel like it's all them just like baiting us to be like, hey, everybody's going to die.
Yeah.
Like, and there's like a shot of everyone in someone else's arms dead.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm like, James Gunn, I feel like is messing around. In the comic books Invincible, which Robert Kirkman used to create covers for the solicits that had nothing to do with the issue and would appear to be huge spoilers when it was all BS. And so I feel like James Gunn is kind of doing the same thing, like putting out this sort of BS stuff. Like, I don't know if any of the Guardians will die.
Yeah.
But they're sure making it sound like Rocket will and Star-Lord will and Drax and pretty much everybody. And like Gamora already died. But so I don't know, but I'm excited for that. Marvels, whatever. I haven't seen a single frame of film of that.
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm probably go see it.
I liked Miss Marvel. I thought it was fun. A lot of people didn't like the end of Miss Marvel, but I was like, I liked the whole thing. I thought it was a fun show. I can't wait for DC to do their thing, and it's going to be a couple of years, so I'm going to have to watch something in the meantime. Yeah, it's true. It's true. There's I'm such a sap. in the because they had all the trailers that we covered last week in the all the trailers episode were put in front of this movie. And so they did the Guardians trailer, and every time it's the Chris Pratt going, ah, like somebody's dying or something. The tears start to come in my eyes. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
And Rocket hugging that otter.
What's that?
Rocket hugging the otter. Like, is everybody dead? Everyone's dying. And then you see them jumping out of the thing in their spacesuits.
Yeah.
And you notice there's not a Rocket raccoon-sized one. And like, where's Rocket? And you're like, But Rocket's a CG. I'm sure all that's CG, but Rocket's a CG character, so they could just plop him out like they did the extra Spider-Man in the Spider-Man trailer.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know what James Gunn is doing, and I do not trust him. Yeah. So they're setting it up to where, like, you guys are gonna have to see this to really know who's gonna die. And I bet you none of them do.
Yeah.
I bet you none of them do. I'm gonna say it right here.
Yep. I feel this. Yeah. They had that. And they had the Flash trailer they switched scenes out where they had an additional little quick clip of Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne, like flipping a switch with.
I saw that.
And I was like, wait, that wasn't the last. I hadn't seen that yet. But anyway. All right, gentlemen, final thoughts on the film. Ralph, final thoughts.
I thought it was fun. A little like, I'm not a huge fan of like full green screen movies. It felt full green screen. I don't know how many sets were built, but it didn't seem like a lot. Yeah. But I mean, I had a good time. So can't complain.
I enjoyed this movie, especially for Jonathan Majors, but also Paul Rudd. And I think this is a good ending for the Ant-Man trilogy. I don't know if it was necessarily like what Ragnarok did for Thor, this does for Ant-Man. I don't know necessarily it does like that, but I enjoyed it. There was a lot of Rick and Morty-esque stuff in here.
Sure.
And actually, the Star Wars comparisons, I think, are good, but I think Doctor Who would be a better like analogy for this type of film. And I enjoy that. So overall, I liked it. I liked the Deus Ant Machina at the end when all the ants came in with their 1,000.
You were kind of
laser head cannon.
You're kind of waiting for it to happen because you know those ants went in there with them.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, and you're just like, okay, when is this coming
his
back?
ear thing, I was like, oh, the ants are gonna come and save the day. That like the second that was like,
and they did, and it was fun.
Yeah, exactly. I loved it.
But I want more Kang. That was what I left the theater. I said, more Kang.
Yeah. Kang me, baby. Kang me.
And let's get a return of Modoc.
Ooh.
Like I know he died, but he can come back. I don't know. I thought he died the last time he was in the Ant-Man 1. So
but it could be a different version of Modoc that isn't Darren.
Yes.
Or Darren, whatever his name is.
Judy says, was surprising credits to see so many countries listed when it seemed totally green screen. Well, I mean, I think that's what we're talking about with the Batman or the Flash, the Batman movie with also the Flash. They were both filming in England, like, so just, let's get Michelle Pfeiffer in that movie. Anyway,
she doesn't need to be dressed as Catwoman. She just needs to be there.
She could be, though. I wouldn't complain. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, that will do it for this episode. But Vactor, where can people find you, my friend, and all of your wonderful content that you produce?
Yes, on YouTube, you can find me at Vactor. The channel is the Vactorverse. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. My last name, Vactor. Just trying to put out as much comic book content as possible. I put out a Modoc short today. So if you want to know more about Modoc, head over to my channel to check out in a little 50-second bite.
Ooh, okay. All right, definitely check it out. And then I think we did it. You did. I did nothing, but you did this Instagram collab thing where you like tagged me in it. So it's on my Instagram and your Instagram, and
Yes,
you can find it there too. But Vactor, love the content that you make. And thank you so much for joining this episode with Ralph and I. You are welcome back anytime. Especially next time there's something Jonathan Majors, I need you here to counter
Creed's in like 2 weeks.
Creed is in like 2 weeks. I'll need you here because I'm sure we'll both be gushing over Jonathan Majors, and Ralph will be like, "Oh, I don't know, he just too buff. He was too buff."
He was throwing these punches, and it was just too over the top for me. I just didn't like the way he threw his arm like that. So yeah, I'm gonna be here. I want to be here for that.
I can't wait to see that thumbnail work. It's going to be like Jonathan Majors punching my face and saying Ralph gets a score of 22%.
Oh my God. All right. On that note, we'll see you all next time. Maybe Creed. Ralph, you got any Star Wars stuff coming up this week?
Yeah, we have a Data Link episode, which is a YouTube exclusive show that we do every other week. And we have a star of Rogue One joining us on Wednesday morning live. And he is the guy who says, "Just let the girl speak" in Rogue One.
Oh, wow. That's a big get.
Yeah.
Big gets. So definitely check out at Casino Skunk, at the Vactorverse.
Yes.
The Vactorverse. And if you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see when the next ones drop, click the subscribe. Click the subscribe button and that bell icon. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for your fantastic contributions. And until next time, hasta luego and goodbye.